Geographers, welcome to yet another video. With this one, I'm going to be introducing you into to how to find and download and access the data that we use for most of the stuff that we do in this class. All right, so I have most of the exercise data will be in this same consistent spot. And so every week when you get a new assignment, some exercise, something to do, this is where you go to look for the data, for the relevant data. So log into Canvas if you're not already there. And in Canvas, locate on the left this files link right here. And this is a good moment to give you a heads up. This is my own, login. I'm an instructor in the class, so I'm going to have some different options and things I can do and things I can see. Do not get hung up on whether or not our screens look identical, right? Like what you're seeing in this video versus what you're seeing when you log in, it's probably going to look a little different. And also, Canvas and other things, they all the time there'll be, updates and things like that. Don't worry about things not looking 100% identical. Just go along with the general idea, right? The general vibe of what we're doing. So locate files on the left, and then left click it just once, and it'll bring you into this little repository, this place where I can upload all sorts of things for you. And it's a case too. Like if you can't find something specific or a link isn't working in Canvas, sometimes a nice workaround is to simply go into the files section, see what you can see there. Can you, find the thing you're supposed to read or whatever. But in here, and this stuff, again, it might change, it might add things or take things away or whatever. But what you'll always see is this data folder. So left click that. And then once in there, you'll see a whole bunch of zip files. And some of these we'll use, some of these we won't use. I just throw a bunch of stuff in here and just kind of pick and choose what I want to play around with. I'll also update these things from time to time. So don't download every single thing at the beginning of the semester just to kind of get ahead of stuff, because things might change, right? So only download what you need as we move forward to make sure you have the most relevant, up-to-date stuff. So for today, what we're going to look at is this one, this S_America file. And it's, South America is what we're dealing with. That's the first map you're going to be making. So with this, you need to hover over it like I am right now. If you move up and down, it highlights each one with that blue shading, right? And if you look to the right, we have these 3 dots that are stacked on top of each other. Left click on that, and you have some options. Again, probably don't have the same options I have. I don't know, maybe you do. But all you really care about is download, this first one. So left click download. And as you do that, it'll say, okay, I'm going to download it, but where do you want me to save the file, right? This doesn't really matter at this point as long as you know where you are saving this zip file. Okay, so you just have to have a sense of where is it going. You can save it on your desktop, save it in some special GIS folder you have, wherever. It doesn't matter to me. Again, the main thing is you know where you're saving it. My own personal system is I try to keep my downloads folder empty. I clean it out. I save stuff here, and then if I decide I'm going to keep it, I need it for something, I'll move it to the relevant location on my computer, right? Some kind of specific folder. And it's worth stating now, if you're not already like this, and this isn't even just GIS, it's really just working with Windows computers in general, or even Macs or whatever, just working with real computers, right? Not just your phone or like an iPad or something like that, but doing real computer work. You want to get a little obsessive over where you're saving files and data and things like that. I have an elaborate system where I'll have, like my main college folder, and then I'll have the different classes I'm teaching. And in there, I have specific subfolders that are in, relevant data, exams, notes, resources, whatever it might be. And so it's folder after folder after folder. But I do this to ensure that I know where everything is, right? I don't rely on the search functionality because, as I've learned, that can be a big pain. And further, when you're working with GIS, you want to know where stuff is and you want to be consistent with where you're placing these things. And I'll continue to get into that. And in future classes, we'll really get into the under workings of GIS and data and all that stuff. But for now, just start paying attention to this stuff. Save it in a relevant location. So I've got my cleaned out downloads folder. This is where I'm going to place this zip file. So I'll hit save and it'll do its thing. And it says, yeah, it's done right there. Now I can access it in a few different ways. I'm using Chrome as my browser. When it does this little, hey, it's downloaded, it's done, what you can do is click on this and it will pop up the folder in question. So if I just left click this, it should, there we go, beautiful. Open that up, take me right to it. So I'm ready to work with it. But also, it's nice that I know I put it in the downloads folder. So if I didn't have this set up, I could just, open up File Explorer, go to downloads, same kind of deal. I'll track it down. All right. It's zipped. There's the video on working with zip files. Hopefully you've already watched that. If not, pause this, go watch that, make sure you know what we're dealing with. It's not that long, but it's important. But for now, assuming you did it, or maybe you just unpaused, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and right click on the file in question. It's just a .zip file, so I don't need to go into 7-zip. I can simply go extract all. It'll say, all right, we're going to put it right here. I want it in downloads for now, but I know I don't need this S_ America thing right here. I can get rid of that because when it unzips, it's already going to make that exact folder. That just comes from experience there. That's how I know this is the case. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm simply going to leave it like this, right? And I'm going to hit extract and wait patiently. Gorgeous. So now I have this original zipped folder, and then I have the actual unzipped thing, right? The file geodatabase that has the relevant data for the South America map that I'm going to be working on. Okay, so a couple of things here. Number one, I can get rid of this zip file. I don't need to have this redundant stuff. So I'm going to right click and hit the little trash can and get rid of it. Okay, now it's saved in my, well, I guess they call it the recycle bin now because we're very green and wonderful about the earth, despite the vast amount of electricity I'm using just to make this video and for you to learn this stuff, but whatever. So I've got that stored. Like if I really screw something up, I can always restore it from the recycle bin, or I can download it again. No big deal. But I find it's very useful to get rid of redundant things, or at least remove them from the immediate location, just so you don't get confused and forget about stuff and all that. All right, that's item number one. Item number two, I want you to notice in this file name, I have S and then an underscore, which is the shift. And like on my keyboard, it's right next to the 0 and above the P on there. That's what an underscore is. So it's a way to make it look like there's a space, but there's no actual space in the file name. All right, this is kind of archaic. It's gotten a lot better, but this is a good thing to do. And really, I just do it in all facets of computer stuff, but it was really important for early GIS work because a single space in a file name could ruin your whole project. You would, click something, try to get some tool running, run some process, and it just crashes. And you're like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And you do enough digging and you realize, oh, it's because of a single stupid space. Seems to be better, but get in this habit, right? So whenever you have to name something, always put a space in there. All right, so I've got that there. All right, that works. But now what I need to do, now I want to actually use it, right? I want to get into ArcGIS and see what I got and mess around with it and actually make a map. So if you haven't already, go ahead and open up ArcGIS, sign in to the thing. And again, it's one of those deals where it might look slightly different depending on if there's a new update. Also, you'll see where it says recent projects. If this is the first time you're opening it and you haven't made a project, worked on anything, you're not going to see anything there, right? So again, don't get hung up on whether it looks identical or not. What you should see when you open up is this new project space up here. And we're just going to left click on map. We're going to make a new map project. So I left click on that. I get this window. Name my project one. No, don't ever leave this stuff. Don't ever use the defaults that ArcGIS gives you, because what does that mean? That's not going to tell you anything about what it is you're doing. You want to give it a relevant name. And so this first map that you're going to be doing is going to be some South America stuff. It's also going to be your first map. So to avoid some confusion, what I want to do, and hopefully this will be clear once we do it, I am simply going to call this first underscore, again, shift, and on a normal keyboard, it's up, right next to the zero, to the right of the zero, above the letter P. So it's two dashes. If you hit shift and that button, it's the underscore, and then first map. So as you can see, no spaces. Gorgeous. The location is going to be in your documents. It should default to this. Documents, ArcGIS, projects. Perfect. Leave this stuff here. Don't mess with this. Okay. This is where we want to save it. And then we want to have create a folder for this project checked. Okay. So it should, in this case, this should all look the same as mine. All right. First underscore map is the name. The location, we keep it in our documents folder and in the subfolder called ArcGIS, and a subfolder in that called projects. And we're checking create a folder. And once you got that, hit OK. And it'll do its thing, and it's going to save this folder and generate some stuff, and it's going to open up to this generic map. We'll wait whenever you're ready. Here we go. Beautiful. Okay. So we've got all this stuff. You probably, again, opening this up, you won't see all these different tabs here, but hopefully what you see initially is this catalog pane. That's what should pop up. If you don't see it right off the bat, let's see, let me, is it in here? Yes. So click on view up at the top and catalog pane, and that will open it up. Don't do catalog view. That makes it bigger. It's not as useful. But catalog pane, that's what I'm looking at. And if it's already there, just leave it. Beautiful, gorgeous. Okay, now, before we actually do anything, I want you to, in fact, I'm going to shrink that down so I can bring this up and kind of, actually, I'll leave it like that. What we need to do is now move this thing that we downloaded into that project folder that we just created. Okay, so a few different ways we can do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here. Okay, and I'm just going to, I'll go ahead and cut it. All right, so it's not left in my downloads folder, so I can clean this stuff out. So cut, then I'm going to go into documents, which most likely you can access here, but just, look to the left in this little quick link pane over on this side. But I'm left click documents, ArcGIS, projects. Again, might see a bunch of stuff that's different. And then, of course, I've got a lot of stuff in here, but I want to find first_map. So I'll left click on that, and I'm simply going to right click and paste. So I've got that s_america.gdb. Now, the reason why I called it first map and not just South America is because it creates a first_map.gdb. So whatever you name your map project, it's going to make a file geodatabase. It's just empty and blank. It's a place to, save some work and all of that should you want to. So I didn't want it to be confusing where I create, a map called s_America, try to bring this geodatabase in, it flips out, right? So that's the idea with that. But now, if I've done that, in here, I should be able to see, gorgeous. It's right there, ready to go. So I just left click on folders, the first map main folder, and in here I have this South America.gdb, right? If you don't see it, you can right click and hit refresh, and that'll just have it kind of reassess what's in this folder. But that works. And then when we open it up, we can see some actual data. All right. And in the next video, we'll get into, okay, what are we going to do with all of these little feature classes and how we're going to make a map. All right. But for now, this video just about getting it set up, getting to this point, and being ready to actually do some real GIS.